Good afternoon, UCSOP faculty. The ePortfolio Coordinating Committee met this morning to address a number of issues and concerns and questions that faculty and students had brought to us regarding advising as well as the ePortfolio process. And so I wanted to take a minute to provide some updates regarding the outcome of that meeting. The first is I want to talk about P1s. And so the P1s are going to be going through the APHA Career Pathways program and the activities that are associated with that program during Pharmacy 510 this week on Tuesday and on Friday. This should very much help them and inform the beginnings of their career aspirations document. As part of that assignment, they are going to be required to meet and follow up with their advisor. So your P1 advisees will likely be reaching out to you sometime next week and the week after. And I'm going to ask that they meet with you prior to November 1st because the assignment will be due for 510 on the 1st of November. In addition, I wanted to share that for P2s, they are able to attend either the WVPA, the WVSHP, or the WV Rural Health Association conference anytime this year. So currently in the syllabus, it's written that it's WVSHP in the fall. WVSHP is not held in the fall, it is held in the spring. However, we are going to let them choose between one of the three conferences, and so they just need to reflect on that as indicated in the syllabus at the time that is most appropriate. In other words, when they attend a conference. So if they go in the fall, they should reflect in the fall. If they attend in the spring, they should reflect in the spring. But they need to let you, the advisor, know what their plan is. The main goal and outcome of that is to get them engaged at the state level, so any of those conferences should help them to do that. We do expect them to attend in its entirety, so the preference is not to have people go just for one day, but to register, and of course they would go through the normal channels to get those absences approved. In regard to the P3s, several of you have notified us that there is a drug monograph that is required for the fall, but they're actually not doing that assignment in any course until the spring. So we are going to move that requirement to the spring. If you look at the P3 globally mandated activities, there are a number of activities that are required for spring and a limited number required for fall. So what we're recommending is that you work with your advisees to choose an activity from spring that they can do in fall instead of the drug monograph. So this could be different for each P3 depending upon what they negotiate with you. And of course, if they want to accomplish more than just one activity from the spring, they're welcome to do that. Want to clarify a couple things about the P4s. There is no diabetes certification requirement currently in the P4 year. That is forecasting for the future. So the current P4s do not need to complete that requirement listed under globally mandated activities. There is no defense or presentation required for the P4s this year, and there is no need for them to upload a career aspirations document. So they would follow any other globally mandated activities and the required evidence or documentation for those, with the exception of the diabetes certification, the defense, and the career aspirations document. Attached to this communication is a PowerPoint and a video. It is a refresher on appreciative advising. I shared it at the faculty development session on Friday. We had a very rich and robust discussion. I posed a lot of questions throughout the PowerPoint, so it was a very interactive session. But if you need a refresher on appreciative advising, I encourage you to look at the very short 3-minute video that is pretty straightforward if you would like to check that out. The other thing that the portfolio coordinators would like to request is that if you are using documents specific to the ePortfolio, checklists, any kind of advising worksheet, anything that would deal with tracking and assessing the student portfolio, that you please vet that through the ePortfolio committee. And those members are myself, Jane Condi, Becky Linger, and Sandy Bowles. So you could just forward those to me and I will take responsibility for making sure that we are discussing them as a committee and getting back with everyone as quickly as possible. But we're trying to make sure that we have consistency among all advisors as much as possible. So we can't have some using some tracking sheets and some using others. And we also want to move away from the ePortfolio being just a simple check off to really being something that is meaningful for the students and that they're also getting some meaningful feedback from all of you. So I think this summarizes pretty much all of our discussion as ePortfolio coordinators this morning. Please feel free to keep your questions coming. We will be meeting at least monthly, if not every 2 weeks, to discuss issues and concerns that crop up. Keep in mind that students should have met with you by now. If you have not seen your advisees, you should be reaching out to them and encouraging them to come meet with you to discuss where they're at with the ePortfolio. If you have individuals, for example, P2s, P3s, P4s, who need to make up, in other words, they did not do what they were supposed to do in terms of the old requirements, you have discretion as their advisor in regard to how you're going to require them to make that up. I am attaching to this email as well a list of the old requirements. I'm not going to post those on eLearn because I don't want to cause confusion for the students, but I do think that it might be helpful for you all to have those for those of you who are trying to catch students up. We will be communicating again later this semester about how you'll notify us of where students are at in the ePortfolio process. But for right now, you should definitely be at least getting into Farm Academic and looking to see where your students are at and having a conversation with them if they need to catch up and developing a plan that is suitable for both you and the student to make that happen by November 30th. So again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us on the ePortfolio committee. We will continue to keep the lines of communication open as we are all working through this very new process. We're already finding that it is beneficial in that the students are actually already forming connections with their advisors and really thinking intentionally about planning for their year. So we look forward to great things. Thank you so much for your attention and for all your work. Have a great week.